Well, good morning, everyone. It's 7 o'clock, so we're going to get this meeting started. Welcome, everybody. Today is March 5th. Time flies when you're having fun, or even when you're not. It's already March. Here is our vision with a new view. And our statement of diversity. So I'd like to introduce our guests and any visiting Rotarians. Thanks, Mike, for this shot. And let's start with, I'm looking on the screen. Vanessa, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Good morning, everyone. I'm Vanessa Vrtiak. I am the school-based health center program coordinator for the Humboldt IPA. I teach with Pelican Bay, and I am happy to be here with you all this morning.
Welcome, welcome. And I see Tony's here also. Hi, Tony. Would you introduce yourself?
Yeah, good morning. Hello, everyone. My name is Tony. I'm the programs coordinator for Project Rebound at Humboldt State University. We are a program that is solely dedicated for formerly incarcerated students. And we are in 14 other CSUs, and we are all operated by the formerly incarcerated. So I myself am formerly incarcerated. I also work for an organization called the Anti-Recidivism Coalition. And I'm a driver in the Ride Home program. So what we do is we pick up people getting out of Pelican Bay. We provide a stipend for their first contact into freedom. We pay for their plane ticket or bus ticket home to wherever they're paroling. But the beautiful thing is we connect them into an array of reentry services. We're big reentry organizations. And so, yeah, I'm just super excited to be a guest here and to share this morning with you guys.
Thank you. And we'll hear more from Tony and Vanessa in a little bit. Let's see, people keep coming in. So my guess, the screen is moving, but hey, it's a dynamic world we live in. Karen, would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Sure. Excuse me. Karen Skoglund, and I work for Northern Humboldt Union High School District in their Indian education program. And we are a consortium with Northern Humboldt as the lead with 9 other school districts. So we have students in our program that are in the high school, which is what we're going to talk about later today, this morning, and then also students in the elementary schools.
Thank you. Welcome. And Isabella, I see you. Would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Sure. Hello, my name is Isabella Sundberg. I'm a senior at McKinleyville High School, and I'm the ASB president and Native American Club for McKinleyville High School.
Welcome. Welcome. And let's see, I see Lila.
Hey, I'm Lila Cohen. I am part of Interact Club at Arcata High School.
Welcome. All right, let me see. Did I miss anybody? I think not. All righty. Well, welcome everybody. We're glad to have you here. And I'm also glad to see all the Rotarians here. Welcome everybody. It's good to see you all. I'm going to remind you about the raffle because last time when I reminded you, so I told Nick I would do this sooner. And so, there you go. And yes, all right. So we're going to start with service and community this morning, and we are going to start right off with Isabella and Karen. And I don't think, is it Kyoki? I don't think he's here yet. I don't know if he's going to come.
He said he's not going to be able to make it. He's taking students Ealing, and they're making a video for the conference.
Oh, nice. Okay. So I'm going to, Romy, turn this over to you just to do introductions, if you don't mind.
Wonderful. Well, I'm very, very happy that Isabella and Karen are with us this morning. One of the efforts with community service and then our sort of part of that is diversity, equity, and inclusion. Our committee is looking at ways that our club can support efforts with BIPOC youth, Black, Indigenous, people of color, and we wanted to really focus on educational opportunities for those students. And when we heard about what Isabella and Karen and Kyoki and the students are doing, we thought, my gosh, this is exactly the sort of effort that we're so thrilled to have an opportunity to learn more about and hopefully to support in the community. And it is a conference put on by students, for students, Native American students all over Humboldt County, Del Norte, Mendo, and so I'm gonna let them talk about it. We're just thrilled with the work that they're doing, and I'm excited to learn more.
Isabella, do you want to go ahead?
Yeah, sure. Okay, well, first I want to say thank you guys for allowing us to be here and wanting to support us in our conference this year. And the Success in Both Worlds Native American Youth Conference is organized and executed by the McKinleyville High School Native American Club. And the club decides on a theme every year, and we organize the workshops and speakers. So this year, the theme is Native Know-How, and it'll focus on local Native cultural practices, such as traditional burning, traditional foods, ceremonies, fishing, eeling, crafts. And the conference is biannual and has become a tradition at McKinleyville High School since it started in 1993. And this is my second conference this year now that I'm a senior, which is great to have experienced this twice in my high school experience. And Native American high school students are invited from all over Humboldt County, Del Norte, and Mendocino County. And everyone's invited to attend, and there's no registration fee, which is why the conference is made possible by generous co-sponsors and volunteers such as you guys. And yeah, that's a little bit of our rundown this year. And I do have some pictures if you'd like me to screen share, if that would be okay. But let me just
Yes, go ahead. It's all set for you.
pull some up. Okay. Thank you. My internet's like really horrible, so we'll see if the photos even load, but we will see. Here, let me try. Sure. Can you guys see this okay?
Yes.
Okay. This was, I think 3 years ago with tribal sovereignty, and it's not going to let me scroll, I don't think, but you guys can kind of check these out. So this was all tribal sovereignty. This was my sister's year, actually, so she's in these photos. But so back in 2017, as you can see, there's a news interview going in this one. The photos are going to be kind of hard to load, so I hope that you guys can kind of see them all in like a big gallery. But yeah, this is just an example of, usually it's in person, it's in our NPR at McKinleyville. So we're happy this year that we're able to do something and kind of keep our tradition up, even if that may be virtually. So we're just trying our best to make it great, and I think it will be this year. But yeah, this is kind of a rundown of what happens. We have speakers, and we usually have a cultural presentation. So as you can see, there's some dancers, and this year we're gonna get a couple storytellers, which I think will be great. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Karen wasn't feeling too well this morning, so I figured I was like, I'll take over. I got you, Karen. But yeah, and then we also have incentives too. So as you guys can see, and kind of where my mouse is, I'm not sure if you can see that, but we usually get like donated necklaces and baskets and stuff. So that's why it's really important that we have sponsors, so that way we can get good incentives and have active participation within our conference if people kind of there and they can. Sarah James, yeah, attended that one. Yeah, it was a good one. But yeah, so that's why it's really important for us to have co-sponsors and volunteers and really generous people like you guys to help out with this conference. So I think that's pretty much it. And Karen, if there's anything you want to fill in, just go right ahead. But yeah, thank you.
I think you did an excellent job.
Isabella, how many students usually come?
Karen, I want to say like 300 or 5.
No, more anywhere between between like 150
I don't know.
to 200. There was a time when it kind of depends on the school and what their funds have been for the conference, because they have to transport students to the conference. A few years ago, Klamath Trinity would bring 2 buses of kids, and Del Norte would bring a busload of kids. So it was a huge conference. Like I said, it depends on, part of that depends on their money situation for transportation. A little bit different this year. So I think one of the things that we've talked about with the students, and it's a day-long conference. It starts in the morning, and the kids try to run it like an adult conference, where there's snacks in the morning, there's some icebreakers, there's our speakers, and then they break into workshops, and we kind of take over McKinleyville High's campus that day. And we have a lot of community support and support from the tribes and organizations. We have topics, we have expertise, a lot of expertise in our area. And, but we've done many different things. The kids always want to have a cultural presentation. And one year they wanted to have a hoop dancer. And so we kind of put our feelers out to all of our friends at the university and in the community, and I had somebody get back to me and say, we found you a hoop dancer. And so we got in contact with this man, and him and his son came from Arizona and performed the hoop dance. I don't know if you've ever seen it before, but they performed at Arcata High School and McKinleyville High School for the whole school. And then they also performed at our conference. And that was a really cool experience for everybody, but the kids in the club really had an extra special experience because they invited our club to come back to Arizona and go to Kachina dances. And so we raised the money and we flew to Arizona.
Nice.
It was, got to go out to 3 mesas and meet a lot of people, and was quite the experience.
Well, I appreciate you guys being here this morning. And as Romy said, we have chosen to help you guys out a little bit this year, and with some funds that came from mask sales and also from my birthday fundraiser. So we're going to be donating $1,000
Wow.
to help with this project. And I will get with Sophie, our treasurer, and we'll get a check out to you guys. I'll give her the information and we'll get that out to you ASAP so that you can use it for however you need it to help make this conference a success this year. And I'm really happy that we're able to do this. And thank you so much for coming this morning and talking to us. And you're welcome to stick around. We have a great program, but if Karen, I would understand if you want to go lay down.
Thank you. That's very generous of you.
Yes. So thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
If you have any questions, let me know or Isabella know.
Yeah,
We're happy to answer.
We can route those to you through Romy or me. So thank you again for being here and telling us about this. And we wish you all the best of luck with this year's conference.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Welcome. So we have a hands-on project coming up, and there were some sign-up geniuses that went out. So Sarah, let's do just a real brief update with this one. If there's any additional information people need to know.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah. So on March 14th from like 10 to 2 o'clock, we're going to go to Jacoby Creek Elementary School. The science teacher's been working on a nature area in the back. He wants to create a native edible garden for the kids. And so all we need to do is kind of clean it up a little bit and get it ready so that when the kids return to school, they're supposed to go back on March 23rd, that they can pick it up and where we left off and keep going. So there's a sign up genius for people to come down. If you come down, if you have like a weed whacker or a chainsaw or some clippers and gloves, you should bring those with you. He has some other tools available. But we're also looking for donations of like salmon berries, huckleberries, thimbleberries, slawberries, and any other native local plants that could be edible, even ornamental, as long as they're local, native. So that's it. Any questions?
This is a great get your hands dirty project. I know we haven't been able to have as many of these this year, and this is exactly that. So if you've been wanting to put your elbows into it, put your back into a project, this will be a good one. So please check out the sign up genius. And Sarah, in terms of when we say we want to buy one of those plants, do we just go buy it? And are there any places recommended where they are, or do we sign up for it and is the school going to buy it and we pay for it? Can you explain that one?
Well, right now I was thinking that we could just buy it and bring it to Jacoby Creek School on the day of. If there's people that can't go out and purchase, just let me know and I'll go out and purchase. I think that some of our committees might have a little bit of cash, so we could probably even use our committee money, but I don't think the school's going out to purchase. There is a garden on Jacoby Creek Road. There's a garden on Bayside Road. There's a couple plant gardens in the Bayside region that sell local native plants, so you can find them there. If you have any issues, let me know and I'll look it up and I'll go find some stuff and let you know where it's at.
Perfect. What a great project. And the reason we need to get this done is we want to get it done and before the students are back in the school, right? Is that they're coming back at the end of the month? Is that what's happening?
Yeah, they're slotted to come back on March 24th, around that week. They're going to do hybrid model, so Tuesday, Thursday, or Wednesday, Friday.
Great. Thank you, Sarah. And we are going to be donating. We mentioned this last time. We're going to be purchasing books, and we have $1,000 toward that, 500 from community service and 500 from the mask sales and my birthday combined. So if other committees, if anyone else wants to add to that, let us know. Let Romy know, because she's going to place the order pretty darn quick. And with $1,000, we're able to buy one of every book on the list.
And a few more.
And a few more, that's right. So, so that's happening. And if you want to get involved yourself and do it, please do. They're continuing this for, I guess, another week or so to the 15th, but I don't think they'll ever turn down books, but it'll be easier if you do it now because the bookstores are working with NAACP to get those books to them easily. So thank you. Oh, look who did stuff. That's a cool picture. Thanks, Stephanie and John and Charlie. I guess this was before the shot kicked in, huh?
You don't know. Now you understand my sense of panic when I thought I was dying. I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Anyway.
No, not yet, lady, not yet. So we need somebody to sign up, I believe, for this next week. Has anyone done that? Or is anyone willing to sign up to do it for this next week? John, did anyone pick up and sign up since I last checked?
Stalling and checking.
Okay.
Multitasking. Hang on.
That's all right.
If not, I'll do it. Nick will do it.
All right. Well, let's see, Nick, and John's looking, but I appreciate that, Nick, and thank you. So we got that covered one way or the other.
Yeah, for the 10th and 11th, nobody signed up yet. So thanks,
Okay.
guys.
Thank you, Nick. And if Nick, if you need help, let somebody know. I'm sure somebody here will join the fun if you ask them.
Yeah, I'll grab a team.
Sounds good. So we're still looking for shoes, although, and I have, this picture of the penguins, and the joke is, what does one penguin say to the other? And that penguin says, "What's that you say? Noggle brought some in my size." I hear Ray's not here, but he brought about 45 pairs of shoes. I don't want to ask where or how that they came to him, but he really stepped up. Ooh, sorry. They just that's just like, I didn't plan that one. Anyway, so they're still looking for shoes if you want to pass them on to some needy people or penguins. And we've got a home away from home distribution on Sunday the 14th. And they are, I put all this stuff up on the slide. Rebecca, are you here? Do you want to say any words about this?
Sure. So this is the Arcata Home Away from Home Committee, and they're distributing meals and goodie bags to local college students with HSU and CR. They're going to do that on March 14th, but they're looking to gather donations through Friday, March 12th. I think it's similar to a drive that we did in the fall. I think there are very specific items that they're looking for. In addition, they're looking for some gift certificates. They're expecting about 150 students, and they were hoping to put at least a $5 gift certificate in every one of the goodie bags that the students take away. So it should be a neat event. They're following all the county protocols and everything like that. It sounds like they've got it set up pretty well. So it's a nice opportunity for our club to reach out and support the our BIPOC college students in our community, and let them know that they're welcomed and we support them.
That's a part of Equity Arcata, and it used to be potlucks, and tons of community members would have people come to the D Street Community Center, and we would just feed the students and tell them, we're glad you're here, and we so appreciate that you're part of our community, but of course we can't do potlucks anymore, and so it's not actually an event. They're just literally going to walk through, social distancing, grab a meal, grab a bag, pre-packaged bag of all kinds of household stuff, and then move along. So very COVID safe.
Right, and it's they only want these items that are listed. I will send these out after the meeting so that you have them if you're interested, and gift cards. And I assume they want us to buy the gift cards and not just give them money? Is that what they are preferring?
Either way would be fine. We have shoppers.
Oh, okay. Okay. So if you want to donate cash, then you would go and drop it off at the city hall and just call. They want you to call first so they can meet you at the door Monday through Friday from 12 to 5. Whoops. Slip. So that's great. Thank you. That's a good way to support folks, and soon we'll get back to the potlucks, hopefully, but not quite yet. All right. I am going to stop for a second, and I wanted to ask Lori if she would make her announcement that she texted me about at 6 o'clock this morning.
So sorry about that. The Humboldt County Office of Ed sponsors the Seal of Biliteracy, which allows high school seniors to get extra credentials, basically, that says that they are biliterate. And so what we're looking for is anybody who is fluent in another language. If you are fluent in another language, we're looking for you just to be one of those kind of judges that talks to the students to make sure that they truly are literate in that second language. If that's you, feel free to put your name in the chat, excuse me, or send me an email. Thanks.
Thank you, Lori. I don't know if I could do that in German or not, but you probably don't have a lot of German students, so who knows? All right, thank you. That sounds fun, actually. I could pretend to be fluent in Setswana because nobody here would be speaking it and they just wouldn't know what I was saying, so that would not work. So anyway, I wanted to share this. There is and I can email this information out too for the link, but there is a Rotary COVID-19 task force update. I know people have asked, we asked the President Knock about what Rotary was doing related to COVID, and they have a meeting next week, or a Zoom meeting to share that. And this will be with these two people, with Pat Merriweather Argus and Anne Marie Kimball, and of course VP Doretta Solari will be there. So I will also send this stuff out, and I know Ed will post it also on our Facebook, not Facebook, sorry, on our webpage pretty quickly after the meeting too. So you'll be able to find that information and sign up for that. Again, it's March 9th at 5:30. All right. Oh, just forgot to mention this earlier, but you can do that. So I want to go to gratitude now, and fellowship, and we're going to start with the upcoming Sunrise Swednesday. Anybody would like to share anything about this? Tami, how about you start and tell us, give us some teasers about the gift basket.
Oh, were you talking to me, Maggie, or is that for Charli?
No, Tami, you, sorry.
Oh, I'd like to keep it a surprise, but
okay.
Well, I just put it together, a care package. I went to Moonrise Herbs and some other places, and you're just gonna have to show up if you want to see what the gift basket is. But I put a lot of thought into it.
That's the perfect tease. Thank you.
Okay.
And Charli, what do you want to say anything about what you'll be doing?
Yeah, we'll be doing a compassion mindfulness practice. It's really good to just, in these times and all times, to take 5 minutes to touch in with yourself and others and become more grounded. Also, if Maggie, you want to put that link in the chat, that would be great. I would love for any of our guests to join us next Wednesday at 5:30.
I cannot do that.
All right, well, I'll look for it in the email. I'll do it in a minute. But yeah, it's just going to be a quick mindfulness practice, and you can do it if you're still at work, if you're in the middle of dinner, or if you're, hanging out, chilling. So it's really quick and fun, and I look forward to seeing you guys there.
Thank you. Thanks for putting that together, you guys. It's, as we keep moving on, we're finding more and more ideas of things we can do this way, and that sounds like it's going to be great. So thank you for doing that. So the magic of PowerPoint is that sometimes it just picks some random thing to put as background on a slide. And this, for whatever reason, this is what it chose when it had these words on the slide. So I was kind of like, well, we'll go with that. And I see that Rachel is here. So I'm going to stop the slide though, because I find it really distracting. But Rachel, do you want to check in with us this morning and share some gratitude?
Hi, I'll see if I can get my face on. I don't know if is that working?
Yep.
It's a little dark in my house. That's funny that there's tennis rackets on, because I was just telling my friend that we should get some and learn to play tennis, even though I hear it's very hard. So, geez. I'm grateful for my new little nugget I have, and grateful that he's currently sleeping. And I'm grateful that I've had a job throughout the pandemic. I'm very lucky for that. And I'm very, very grateful that I have 3 sets of grandparents to help me watch my newborn. Is there anything else I'm supposed to say?
No, that's wonderful. You say what you want to say. Thank you. Yeah. So we're also grateful for all those things for you, because I know having a baby is a wonderful challenge. And we love having a new Rotary baby too. So you've got all these aunts and uncles right here.
He's lucky.
And yeah, maybe sometime you'll have some free time. You can go learn to play tennis. But yeah, it's just beautifully random. So thank you, Rachel, for being here and for sharing. Oops. Yeah, go away. Oh, we're going to do a raffle. And I decided, since none of us are traveling much, that I just would share foreign money with you as one way to kind of vicariously think about what it's like to be in another country. This money is from Brazil, and I don't recommend you go there yet, but this is Brazilian dollars or monies, yes. That's the word for it. You don't. Yes, that's right. Yes. Thank you.
All right. So first winner today is Rebecca, and she gets $5. And the next one is Terry, and let's see how much she makes. $5. So I'll pay you both through Venmo, and good luck to everybody next time.
What's the pot at?
It's at $30 today.
Oh.
Yeah, we had that winner right before our, the week before Final Friday.
That's right, I remember. So we're building up the pot again. So Lori, I don't know if you want to just share where things are with the challenge. Is that something you can do easily?
I sure can. Let me see. In the 300 challenge, we have Vanessa and Romy that are so close. Vanessa is actually less than 25 miles away from making 300 miles. Oh my goodness, she is just cranking up those miles. Romy's at 250. Amazing, amazing. In the 200-mile challenge, we've got Stephanie, holy cow, at 135 miles, you are going to make that 200. And Ray and I have got to step it up a bit to catch up to you. In the 100-mile challenge, we've got Joyce Heinrichs, woohoo, 82 miles. You are going to make it, no problem. And Hot Scott, 63 miles. Amazing. Chris, Lisa, Maggie, you're right up there. You are all going to make 100. Absolutely fantastic. Keep going, guys.
I have to say, Ray said he had technical challenges. His phone stopped having a tracker. So last I heard, he was well ahead of me. I doubt that he's behind Vanessa, because that woman is rocking.
She is. And I'm sure Ray has probably just stopped running because he gave away all his shoes and realized that. So I brought this up to Lori. It's not about me winning, because I will not and don't want to win, but it's about truth. And I have my tracker here. Let's see if I can show it to you. That shows me at 76 miles. Which I think is pretty good for someone who walks. But on the report there, it only has me at 51.77. So I haven't figured out what's wrong, but I'm feeling good about 76, and I will definitely make 100. So I'm very happy about that.
So if it's the truth, send me the screenshot.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'll wait until we're done because there's no point sending it to you because it's never going to change. But anyway, I'm really happy we're doing that. And some people asked that came on late, and I think people want to do another one after this. So when this one's done, we'll do another one because those of you who weren't able to start in on it, you might want to start the same time everyone else did. So we will
That's a great idea. We'll plan on starting that April 1st.
April 1st. Awesome. Awesome. All right. Well, we're going to move on now. We're going to give a little extra time today because this is a really interesting topic, at least I think it is. And I want to introduce to you our speakers, Vanessa and Tony. I sent some information out about them in your email, and I am just going to turn it over to them and let them go because there's a lot to hear from them. So thank you, welcome both of you. Thanks for being here. I will stop my share. So if you need to share.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Maggie. I'm so impressed with all the different things that you guys have going on and all the ways that you contribute to our community. It's really special. Thank you, Charli, for asking us to come on and talk about this important topic. I think Tony's going to share his screen. I'm having some internet issues, so I'm actually on my phone right now. I'm like, our story of our lives these days, right? So yeah, Tony, if you want to share your screen. I can't tell if you already are, though.
I am.
Okay.
I'm in the attempt.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're calling this presentation Racial Disparities in the Criminal Justice System and You, because I know that Rotary is really big on what you can do to give back to the community or what you can do to make changes. And so Tony and I definitely incorporate that piece into this presentation. I know that no one wants to leave a presentation feeling like, hopeless, exhausted. So we definitely have some strategies to where we can all address this issue together. So next slide. So the goals of our presentation are to explain what is considered a racial disparity, why they exist within the criminal justice system. Another big piece is to reduce stigma for formerly incarcerated people. This comes up time and time again for Tony and I when we're working with formerly incarcerated people. That's one of the #1 things they want is to be treated like people when they are released from prison or jail. And so we're hoping to do that today. And then we're going to provide some meaningful suggestions for you all on this topic.
And I wanted to make a quick comment on because it's so pertinent, right? Racial disparities. So I'm Japanese American. My mom's from Japan, and in prison, you have different cars. People from the same ethnicity group sticks together. But for Asians, Jamaicans, Puerto Ricans, North Africans, we're classified in a group called other. So you're automatically, you're already othered when you're incarcerated. But if you're Asian, like you're literally called others. Like the guards call you other people call you other. And so that's like kind of pounded in you like, oh, I'm already kind of outside of the societal norms. Now I'm even more othered, right? So I just wanted to say that as well, because it's just super important to bring up. So this is a quote I want to say that really speaks to what we're talking about by Elliot Curry. Prison has become a looming presence in our society to an extent unparalleled in our history or that of any industrial democracy. Short of major wars, mass incarceration has been the most thorough implemented government social program of our time. We'll talk about more about, reentry and social services, but it really speaks volumes that we put all our eggs in one basket now into police and into incarceration. Our government kind of thinks that incarceration is the end all, the be all as a solution instead of mental health, social services, social welfare, etc. And I want to bring this up as well, that even though the 13th Amendment to the US Constitution outlawed involuntary servitude, white supremacy continues to be embraced by vast numbers of people and became deeply inscribed in new institutions. One of these was lynching, a widely acceptable institution for decades. Neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist in the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction. So 1 in 3 Americans have a criminal record. That's pretty astronomical. It still blows my mind. We have as many people with criminal records as college degrees. They equate each other. That is pretty disparaging. We have about 1 in 72 people on probation alone, and a quarter of the people in prison are there for a parole violation. So not a new crime, right? 25% of people, that's 2.2 million people total, for either a curfew violation, they failed a drug test, they were late, something that was not a new crime, but they were put back into the system to serve out their time. And so, when we talk about these things, I just mentioned we have about 2.3 million people in prison or jails across the country, but we also have double that on county supervision, also on so that's parole, probation, some kind of ankle monitoring. So it extends well beyond the bars.
I'm glad you brought that up, Tony. So I just wanted to quickly say kind of what racial disparities are, so we're all on the same page with what exactly we're referring to. And in social science, racial inequality is just typically defined as any kind of distribution of power, economic resources, opportunities. And then these racial inequalities have manifested in our society within wealth, poverty rates, bankruptcy, housing patterns, educational opportunities, and in this case, the criminal justice system. And there is a significant difference between a variety of racial groups that make up our criminal justice system. So just so we're all on the same page, that's what we're talking about. So next slide. And I should have said at the beginning that if someone has a burning question, feel free to ask it, but otherwise we will take your questions at the end. So I just wanted to throw this question out there just for us to all think about. So why do racial disparities exist in the first place? So maybe just take a second to really think about that. Why the criminal justice system? Why do they exist in the first place? So next slide.
Did anyone think of these three? So a variety of factors. 1, including law enforcement practices, crime rates, and punitive sentencing policies contribute to racial disparities, criminal histories, and unequal access to resources. So law enforcement resources are heavily focused in poor neighborhoods. If the public safety strategy consists mostly of arrest and prosecution, and if there are insufficient economic, educational, social service resources, racial disparities in criminal justice outcomes are inevitable. If someone has a record, they are more likely to be targeted by police. The greater police presence, the more arrests. So these are also the areas, predominantly minority neighborhoods, that experience higher rates of incarceration. You don't go to a gated community and see police all the time, right? So that, it's almost like if you go to a gated community, they have abolished police. So I look at it. They don't interact with them. In terms of unequal access to resources, decisions regarding the most effective balance of early responses by law enforcement, social services, community intervention, these are critical in determining outcomes. Individuals and communities with access to resources generally employ an approach to treating behavioral problems outside the juvenile and criminal justice systems. For example, middle-class parents whose child exhibits some kind of antisocial behavior that might often precipitate delinquency, poor grades, association with negative peers. These may be explored the contributory roles of learning disabilities, psychological problems, or substance abuse with appropriate private social service or healthcare professionals long before the youth become delinquent. This is because more resources are available to middle-class parents than to lower-income parents. So they have access to resources such as private tutors, counseling, therapeutic services to remedy these problems they find, things that might often take for granted that other communities might not have access to. And in the event of an arrest, definitely the case, alternatives to detention are more readily available in middle-class communities than low-income communities, raising the chance that middle-class youth will be diverted from the system into some kind of program other than incarceration. And once that decision is made to rely on the criminal justice system, minority communities, the day-to-day actions for criminal justice practitioners are constrained by that decision. For example, police make drug arrests in low-income neighborhoods because those communities are not equipped with available alternatives for dealing with drug problems. And the war on drugs. So it's a pretty proven fact that, our government brought in heroin in the 60s, as well as turning people onto LSD with their experimentations, only to classify both those as high-level classifications for arrests in the 60s. And then President Richard Nixon, talking about racial disparities, he is quoted, this is our president at the time, is quoted as saying, "We knew we couldn't make it illegal to be either against the war or black, but by getting the public to associate the hippies with marijuana and the blacks with heroin, then criminalizing both heavily, we could disrupt those communities. A race-motivated war on drugs." And just a few years later, Ronald Reagan, on a phone call with Richard Nixon in 1971, called people from Africa monkeys and said, "Damn them, they're still uncomfortable wearing shoes." Again, this is one of our presidents, as well as another proponent on the war on drugs. So people of color are in prison for drug offenses at rates highly greater exceeded the proportion of drug use population. This is due in part to law enforcement practices, but is also related to drug sentencing policies that have been acting since the 80s at both the federal and state level. Every state now has some form of mandatory sentencing, often applied for drug offenses. At the federal level, the mandatory 5 and 10-year sentencing policies adopted for crack cocaine offenses have been subject to much analysis and criticism for the racial disparities they produce. If you had 5 grams of crack cocaine, you would get the same sentence as someone who had 500 grams of just regular cocaine. It was a 1 to 100 ratio. More minority groups use crack cocaine, and more affluent white people used cocaine. Also, in the 80s, proven fact, our government, the CIA was bringing in cocaine from South America during the Contra connection because the government stopped their funding to buy arms in the Middle East to continue their war. So our government was bringing in cocaine into inner cities to buy guns to fund their war. Over racial biases, racism exists within society at large and will be found within the criminal justice system 100%. In policing, it can manifest itself in poor interactions with the community, denote lack of respect. In the courtroom, the ways in which defendants or attorneys are addressed can communicate attitudes suggesting second-class status. And in prison, officials who have negative interactions with inmates as family members can increase levels of hostility for those who are incarcerated, families and staff. And also to mention the 3-strike legislation in 1993 that passed by a majority of both Democrats and Republicans, which means 3 strikes and you're out. We see people that stole a slice of pizza, stole a bicycle, stole a candy bar, receive life sentences for those minor infractions.
So with all that, we felt like we really needed to give some history, some context. We appreciate you all sitting through that. I know it's, like I said, I know it's not easy to hear, but we want to stress that addressing the interactions between our police officers and the community are just a part of the conversation. It's also accountability within the DA's office, the probation department, parole department, education system, social service agencies. All of us are a part of this. I know that many of you are probably familiar with the recent report that came out that says that we are failing our Native youth in Humboldt County. They're suspended at a higher rate. All of this contributes to a disproportionate rate of people of color in our criminal justice system, because that's the trajectory of their pathway, which I'm really happy that this club is sponsoring the conference that was mentioned earlier. So that's a great way to combat it. So we all need to do our part. This can be done through promoting cultural humility trainings within your own organizations that you work for, examining our local practices within our own police departments, especially in the sheriff's office because they control the custody services division, and then to advocate for expansion of alternatives where arrest might not be appropriate. I know that Charli does incredible work within the Arcata Police Department, supporting youth to explore different strategies. Teen Court is another great option. So any way that we can support these organizations that are offering alternatives to incarceration. I know that you wanted to tell, and of course, voting for judges and people in any elected position is really important. Tony, I know you wanted to tell a quick story about that.
Yes, just to plug on voting. I just got my voting rights restored the last voting term, which was very awesome. So yeah. When we're talking about alternatives to incarceration, right? But most of, like I was saying in the very beginning of the slide, that we put most of our eggs in incarceration as a solution instead of towards mental health, right? We have mental health courts, which I think is a very jarring image to think of. Why do we have mental health and court together if it's a mental health issue? So recently, my best friend, Jack, he has a personality disorder and manic depressive, which kind of borders more towards schizophrenia. He's an amazing poet and artist in Sacramento. And he had a schizophrenic break, you know, and he had his medications kind of interacted off. And when he was outside of his apartment, when 911 was called, police came. And instead of some kind of caseworker or anything like that, they arrested him. They put him in solitary confinement for 30 days naked in Sacramento County Jail. He's still very traumatized by it. He is currently in the mental health. He had never been in trouble before. He's currently in mental health court. He calls me all the time because he doesn't know the system at all, you know, and so you know, it is absolutely traumatizing, and it's even worse on top of his other mental afflictions that he's dealing with on a daily. He just got out of a 14-day hold in Vallejo because he had another episode, and luckily this time cops didn't come first. It was an ambulance, but his probation officer called while he was in, and he called me up while he was inside, basically crying like, I'm so worried because I'm in the hospital. I had to come to the hospital that they're gonna put me in jail. So, you know, we need to really think about our community and what do these alternatives look like, because we're putting all our budget into systems that, you know, we're overworking them, we're overstressing them. They weren't meant, police officers, law enforcement weren't meant for those calls. We don't need that. So that's, yeah, Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. Yeah. So just real quick, how you can help by acknowledging the racial disparities that do exist. As we know, so many people just want to be seen, heard, acknowledged. There's been this huge movement towards land acknowledgement, which I think is incredibly beautiful, but it really speaks to that need for acknowledgement. I acknowledge that these issues still exist. Being aware of your own biases and stigmas. We all have our own biases. We all have our own stigmas. It's incredibly easy to find ourselves maybe judging someone with a bunch of face tattoos, but to really check ourselves and to treat people the way that we want to be treated. It's so simple, and but it's really the heart of this. Working towards systemic change, and welcoming home formerly incarcerated people, which means hiring them, being there for them. There's an incredible project in the Bay Area right now called the Homecoming Project, where it's like an Airbnb where you can host someone that's returning home from prison or jail. So there are a lot of innovative things happening right now, and I just encourage everyone in this Rotary group to really open their hearts to people that are formerly incarcerated. They've done their time, so let their time be in the past and let them be able to move forward. My mother was a incarcerated person, and boy, do I wish that people let go of that stigma when she was released. I really wish that. So I hope that we can all offer that to our formerly incarcerated community.
Yeah, just to real quick on that. Yeah, right. Like last time, my last release, I lost the right to vote, a right to be on a jury. I lost food stamps. I lost any kind of government assistance. I lost federal student loan aid. Couldn't go to school at that time. That's changed now. And I couldn't be in low income housing. So, right, you come out, and also I'm still paying restitution 7 years later for taking up space in a cell. I'm still paying restitution. And they expect you to pay that when you get out, right? I'm working a low minimum paying job and paying $700 a month to live in a halfway house with 7 other people. And they expect you to pay them monthly. This is the first year in 7 years that I've gotten my state tax return because it wasn't garnished. Even though I donate it every time, the government will send me a message saying, "Oh, sorry, we intercepted your charity donation and we're taking your state taxes." So yeah, and really, like Vanessa said, these stigmas they run deep, and we need to, as a community, welcome our community members back. 95% of people who are incarcerated, maybe more, I think it's like 96 now, they're going to be coming home someday. They will be your neighbors. They will be coming into your businesses. They will be walking on the neighborhood. They will be going to the coffee shop, going to the restaurant. They will be shopping at Wildberries. So we really need to just, community. It's all about community. That's how I like to look at it. So.
I know we just have a couple minutes, so we just have 2 more slides, you guys, that we're going to get through. So,
so if the criminal justice system is to be viewed as fair, it needs the support and cooperation of the public. I'm wearing the Sentencing Project shirt right now, which did a Innocence Project Coalition, so they're a really awesome organization to look into. A quick story on this: I had a student I was working with who applied at TJ Maxx, and this is a year before the felony box was on the application. He was 19 years old, and so he was. I was trying to get him to HSU. He was one of my students. He applied at TJ Maxx, and he automatically got denied. So he reapplied and didn't check the box. Well, wouldn't you know, he got called in for an interview. When he went into the interview, the manager came out from the back, went up to the front, saw his name, and said, "You will never work here, ever. You need to get out of the store." That's right here at the Bayshore Mall. another friend of ours, was racially profiled at Target walking, and you know, he was formerly incarcerated, but you know, and he's a Black man, walking through Target, and one of the security guards just decided to follow him and humiliated him by asking him to, you know, say that he stole something, and had him go in the back and just completely humiliating. He ended up winning a lawsuit with Target in Eureka. But you know, these are racial disparities. These happen. This is our community. These are our businesses, right? These are our community members, and that shouldn't happen. You should not be targeted, you know, for the color of your skin, obviously, right? Or if you have tattoos or whatever. So,
Tony, it sounds like we have to end. So thank you all. No, I just saw that in the chat. Thank you everyone for listening and for participating in our presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We really appreciate you guys being here and sharing this. There's a lot of information I think people don't normally think about, but it does impact so many people in our country, and it's not something we should be proud of, that we incarcerate so many people in this country compared to many other countries, most other countries, and certainly most democratic countries. So it's kind of embarrassing, and it's pretty intense. I wanted to let you know that we will be making a donation in your name to Tri-County Independent Living to support people with disabilities. And you both get a little certificate. I love virtual certificates. You don't have to put it somewhere. You just enjoy it in the moment.
When I was on my smartphone this morning.
And I'm going to wrap up the meeting. It is almost spring, so I know rain's coming, but we should be getting out there and enjoying nature. What could go wrong, really? Hope you guys have a great weekend. Stay dry, stay warm, and we'll see you Swednesday. We'll see you Swednesday, and if not Swednesday, we'll see you on that Friday thing. Sorry we didn't have time for questions, but we do have ways to reach out to these folks and certainly get more information. So with that, I'd like to say this ends the meeting of March 5th. Go forth.